probably saw something like between 12 and 15 doctors. So I was like a guinea pig for 5 years, trying all kinds of different drugs from the chronic pain symptoms to the neurological symptoms, sometimes taking drugs for both at the same time, and it was just really intense.
Alright, what is going on, world? Welcome to the second video in the Neurohacking Experiments series. Today I got my good friend Ben Switzer here. We're going to talk a little bit about what he does along his journey, because I told you guys in my last video that we're going to be doing some very interesting neurohacking, cognitive optimization brain experiments, and Ben's the leading expert here in London on all this stuff. And I thought in this video, before we kind of dive into the actual consultation and what he would do if you come visit him as a client, we're going to discuss his journey, what he's passionate about, and what he thinks is going to happen from this experiment. So what's going on, Ben? You want to talk to the channel a little bit here, introduce yourself? Let me put that on silent.
Yeah, I should do mine too. Hi everybody, thanks for having me on the channel. My name's Ben Switzer. I'm the founder of TrueFocus, and what I do is I provide people with tools to take control of their own brain health and optimization. In the underground, as they call it, it's called neurohacking, and you'll find that term on Reddit. You won't find it as much as in academia. If you want to go and look up the science of this field, it's called cognitive enhancement. There's actually a journal of cognitive enhancement that was just started up last year around October. So go check it out, do some Googling for yourself, and see what's up. I came into this field actually when I experienced a brain injury. I was very sick with Lyme disease for about 7 years. Had a real difficult time getting a diagnosis, and then it resulted in a brain injury, spread through my central nervous system into the brain. So I had major confusion, memory problems, and it made it impossible for me to be successful at really anything that I wanted to do. And I was reading a lot about neuroscience, psychology, artificial intelligence, because I was interested in writing science fiction. And it ended up that that was actually useful for more than just creating stories. I came across a term called neuroplasticity, and that's something else I'd encourage you to check out. It's a concept where we understand the brain is constantly changing into adulthood. It's responding to the environment and trying to evolve the way it perceives and acts on the environment to optimize the way we get resources, essentially. So it's like the evolutionary learning mechanism of the brain and how it changes its structure over time. My passion is empowering others with knowledge. You know, I went through this process and I spoke with a lot of different experts and medical professionals, and I couldn't get help from Western medicine, essentially.
So during this period where you had this Lyme disease, you were going to not just several, tons of different doctors, and they were all like misdiagnosing you, correct?
Yeah, I went to...
That's crazy.
Yeah, I probably saw something like between 12 and 15 doctors, and each one, of course, has a different specialization, so they have a different diagnosis, and then there's a different treatment. So I was like a guinea pig for 5 years, trying all kinds of different drugs from the chronic pain symptoms to the neurological symptoms, sometimes taking drugs for both at the same time, and it was just really intense.
And you also had, like, it wasn't just mental, like your legs were like shutting down and stuff too, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So it was physical and mental, and none of these doctors knew, and they kept misdiagnosing you.
Yeah, that's right. So there were major psychological symptoms, not just from the disease, but also not knowing what the heck's going on in your body, and everyone telling you something different. And you're supposed to trust them because they're the most knowledgeable. And I think it was about 5 or 6 years in, I just got sick of it, and I decided to take charge. And I think that, you know, we're living in an age of personalized medicine, and this is along the lines of what we're going to be doing with this program too. It's taking control of your own body and mind, and that's something I know that you've been doing for years. So I think this is going to be perfect for you. But that's when it ended up happening. I just said, I'm tired of this. I'm going to empower myself. I'm going to learn everything I can. I'm going to write down all the list of my symptoms. I'm going to cross-reference them across a bunch of different possibilities. And eventually I did find a doctor who was able to identify the proper disease. I was able to get treatment. I had an experimental blood infusion that was extremely successful, fully cured. But it was after that that I still had the brain damage, because it was almost like too late for that treatment. And that's when it was, you know, I still was of a mindset that I needed to make some changes and I needed to take control. And so I came across neurohacking. There's this huge community actually, mostly in North America, but in Europe as well. You know, and these guys, they were building their own brain shocking machines. You know, they were like experimenting with all these nootropics, like eating different mushrooms, like microdosing with LSD. You know, it's like a very Silicon Valley practice. You know, some people are as intense as beaming ultraviolet light onto the surface of their brains and things like that. We're not going to get too crazy. part of what I do is I evaluate the efficacy and cost and risk of each modality that you can implement. So we won't be using lasers on your brain because it's just not that effective. But we are going to be using some pretty cool stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited for this. This is going to be a fun little experiment, and as Ben kind of mentioned there, like, he's gone through a lot of this stuff. He knows what it feels like to go through these kind of, like, to feel mentally and cognitively like depleted from something that you can't even help yourself, and then to bring yourself out of that all through kind of experimentation. So I think that's amazing. I'm really proud and happy to have him here on my channel. He's doing some amazing stuff here in London. If you guys want to know more about his journey, I'm trying to get him to start up his own YouTube channel here, but we could do a whole video where we dive in and discuss his past if this is something you guys are really interested in. So if you guys are interested, make sure you go leave a comment in the comment section below if you want to see kind of a whole rundown on Ben and his life. Right now we're going to transition to our next video where we kind of cover the whole interview and consultation process that, as we kind of mentioned at the beginning of the video here, that if you want to be one of Ben's clients and try to go through these neurohacking experiments or through this cognitive optimization, that this is kind of what you're going to go through. And as he mentioned, it's very highly customized. It's very situational to who you are, your goals, where you are at in life, your lifestyle, and he kind of customizes it all around that. So before we jump into that video and we end this video here, really quick for yourself, what did you find through the experimentation that helped you like rise up cognitively like the quickest? Was it the nootropics? Was it like just like meditation and implementing different aspects in your life? Was it the synergistic effect of everything? What would you say was the biggest, like, holy crap, like I feel like a huge change?
Well, that's a really great question. I think the last thing you said, a synergistic ecosystem of many different tools. You know, each one might add 1 or 2%, but when you have 10 of those and you're combining them together, you know, they don't just do their 1 or 2%, it adds another 0.5%, let's say, when they're combined properly. So you end up getting significant results. But I'd say, you know, before even applying any of those methods, knowing that you can change and having hope, I think, was the biggest element, because you can't implement anything if you have no motivation to do that. And so you are a highly motivated person, so you'll be able to get the most out of this program.
Awesome. Yeah, so the way I look at it, because if you guys know from my journey here, if you've been following along, is that I'm all about the hormones and optimizing, trying to get the synergistic effect of everything, and understanding that, like, it's okay to let negatives in every once in a while, but as you mentioned, like, having all these little percentages add up is what's going to make that big change in life. And that's what I feel a lot of people in society don't fully understand. They think it's like, oh, what kind of diet do I need to do to get better, or what kind of physical exercise do I need to do? And it's not that, it's a combination of everything. Right. And this is why I feel we're entering this kind of new renaissance where all this stuff is coming back, where we're taking all these different fields, and I'm glad that we're combining the cognitive and the physical together. Like, this is gonna be some fun experiments, man.
It's gonna be awesome.
Awesome. So guys, go follow.
If you want to learn more, visit www.truefocus.ca, it's one word, and check out some of our programs. There's a little bit of information there.
Awesome. Well, make sure you guys go leave a comment for us, hit that like button on your way down there, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you, world.